Hey guys, welcome to Y&R Daily Update YouTube channel. Today's topics: The Young and the Restless spoilers. Phyllis rats out Kane, but is it for Nick or Jack? The Young and the Restless Y&R spoilers tease that Phyllis Summers Michelle Stafford is playing with fire via her alliance with Kane Ashby Billy Flynn. Get updates on the latest news about The Young and the Restless straight to your inbox. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising as outlined in our privacy notice. What is this? She ultimately betrays Kane, but does she do so for Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, or Jack Abbott? Peter Bergman. Phyllis desperately wants to partner with Kane on his Genoa City escapades, but her motives are suspect. They usually are. Phyllis has a lousy track record. Phyllis is capable of a lot of things, but would she really sell her soul to enrich Kane, a person who has hurt the people close to her? Phyllis is loyal even though it gets her into trouble at times. Do you think that she is playing Kane with an agenda to ruin him from the inside out? Red herself recently pointed out that no one gets the best of her and gets away with it. And we suspect she has plans to turn on Kane the first chance she gets. Will Phyllis be able to fool Kane? Phyllis has done something similar before with Tucker McCall, Trevor St. John. There was a point in time when Phyllis double-crossed him for the Abbotts, and it seems like she may have pulled out her old playbook. What is this? But Phyllis also has Nick's back. It's not hard to imagine that she envisions herself as an avenging angel for her ex, who was maimed while on Kane's misguided vacation adventure in the south of France. Phyllis and Nick are parents to Summer Newman, and it's hard to imagine she would endanger her relationship with her daughter for a business deal. What happens next in Genoa City, Wisconsin? Then again, Nick might sweeten the pot and tell Phyllis he'll give her a job if she rats out Kane. He could even throw in a job for her son Daniel Romolotti, Michael Grazzi. Explosive. The Young and the Restless spoilers say that Kane will have to keep his wits about him in the coming days and weeks as he prepares for world domination. What part do you think that Phyllis will play in his shenanigans? Be sure to catch up on everything happening with The Young and the Restless right now. Come back here often for the hottest Y&R updates, news, and spoilers. Get comfortable and gain access to the best soap intel on the web. The Young and the Restless is heating up with a storyline that could send shockwaves through Genoa City as Phyllis Summers finds herself in the middle of a dangerous game involving Kane Ashby. The question on everyone's mind isn't just whether Phyllis will take Kane down, but who exactly she's doing it for. Is she working in Jack Abbott's corner, supporting his vendetta against Kane? Or is this a move that will ultimately protect Nick Newman from Kane's growing influence? Phyllis has always been a woman who plays her own game, but this time her loyalty seemed to be split down the middle, and that could have devastating consequences for everyone involved. Kane has been making bold moves lately, pushing himself back into the power spotlight in Genoa City. He's been charming allies, making calculated business plays, and quietly undercutting those who might stand in his way. While some think Kane is simply trying to re-establish his reputation, others believe there's something more sinister brewing. Whispers around town suggest Kane may be working on a takeover scheme that could dismantle both the Abbott and Newman family strongholds. If left unchecked, this makes him a threat to both Jack and Nick, albeit for different reasons. Phyllis is not someone who forgives easily, and her history with Kane is rocky to say the least. They've crossed paths in business and in personal matters, and there's always been a layer of distrust between them. Now, sources hint that Phyllis has been quietly gathering intel, secret meetings, overheard conversations, and digital footprints that could prove damaging to Kane's plans. But while the evidence she's collected could destroy Kane's standing, the question remains, will she hand it over to Jack or to Nick? If she chooses Jack, it could be part of a larger Abbott retaliation plan. Jack has been circling Kane for weeks, suspecting his moves at Chancellor Winters could undermine Jabot. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. Jack is no stranger to strategic takedowns, and with Phyllis providing inside information, he could pull off a corporate strike that leaves Kane with nothing. On the other hand, if Phyllis decides to side with Nick, the motivation might be more personal than professional. Nick has been preoccupied with Newman family drama, and he might not fully realize how dangerous Kane's networking has become. Kane's rumored connections could lead to threats against Nick's businesses or even his personal relationships. Phyllis might see herself as protecting Nick from a storm he doesn't see coming, whether Nick likes it or not. This choice is further complicated by Phyllis's current standing in both men's lives. Her relationship with Jack is complicated with lingering history, occasional trust issues, and mutual respect layered under past betrayals. With Nick, there's a more recent connection, a mutual understanding that sometimes borders on flirtation, but also includes genuine concern. If Phyllis tips her hand, she could be sending a very loud message about where her loyalties truly lie, and that message will not go unnoticed. In true Genoa City fashion, nothing is ever straightforward. Kane is likely aware that Phyllis is sniffing around, and that makes this entire operation more dangerous. Kane's charm is one of his most powerful tools, and he may try to manipulate Phyllis into second-guessing herself, or worse, into thinking that working with him could benefit her more than working against him. If Kane manages to plant just enough doubt in her mind, Phyllis could find herself caught in a game of double crosses, unsure of who's playing who. Adding to the tension, there are rumblings that Victor Newman has his own stake in this unfolding drama. If Victor sees Kane as a potential asset or a problem, he might insert himself into the mix, complicating Phyllis's choices even further. The Newman patriarch is not one to sit on the sidelines, and if he senses an opportunity to control the narrative, he will take it without hesitation. This could mean that Phyllis's decision isn't just about Jack or Nick, it could end up involving Victor's influence as well. The stakes are incredibly high. If Phyllis chooses wrong, she risks alienating one of the few allies she has left in Genoa City. If she chooses right, she could solidify her position and take Kane out of the equation for good. But as history has shown, Phyllis doesn't always play it safe, and her willingness to take risks could lead to explosive fallout. Viewers can expect some tense confrontations in the coming weeks. A private meeting between Phyllis and Jack could reveal just how much she knows about Kane's plans, while a separate conversation with Nick could hint at her desire to protect him without revealing her full hand. Meanwhile, Kane's movements will be closely monitored, but whether he's aware of the news tightening around him is still up for debate. The real bombshell could drop if Phyllis decides to play both sides, feeding bits of information to Jack and Nick while keeping the most damaging intel to herself. This could allow her to maintain control over the situation, but it's a dangerous path that could backfire spectacularly. Kane has proven time and again that he can turn the tables when people underestimate him. And if he discovers that Phyllis has been working against him, retaliation will be swift and brutal. In a city where alliances shift like sand and trust is a rare commodity, Phyllis's next move could determine the fate of not just Kane, but the balance of power between the Abbotts and the new. Will she use her intel as a weapon to help Jack reclaim dominance? Or will she act as Nick's silent guardian against a threat he doesn't fully see coming? Or perhaps in true Phyllis fashion, she surprise everyone with a third option that no one saw coming. Whatever she decides, fans can count on high-stakes drama, shocking betrayals, and game-changing reveals as The Young and the Restless continues to prove why it remains one of daytime's most compelling dramas. Kane might think he's untouchable, but with Phyllis on the hunt, he could soon learn that in Genoa City, even the smoothest operators can find themselves outplayed. And when Phyllis plays to win, she doesn't just aim for victory. She aims for total annihilation. Phyllis's situation takes another twist when a mysterious source leaks partial information about Kane's dealings to the press, sparking a flurry of speculation throughout Genoa City. The story paints Kane as a shadowy power broker pulling strings behind the scenes, but it's vague enough to leave people guessing about what he's really up to. Kane publicly denies the accusations, calling them the work of jealous enemies, but privately he's furious. He suspects Phyllis is involved, and his anger could push him into dangerous territory. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. At the same time, Jack begins applying pressure on Phyllis, urging her to bring him the rest of the evidence so they can neutralize Kane once and for all. Jack knows that hesitation could give Kane the upper hand, and he warns her that loyalty will matter more than ever in the days ahead. Nick, however, approaches Phyllis differently. He asks her outright if she knows more than she's letting on, and when she dodges the question, his suspicion grows. Nick has always had a knack for reading between the lines, and Phyllis's evasiveness is setting off alarms. He doesn't know whether she's protecting him, protecting Jack, or protecting herself. Meanwhile, Kane is quietly assembling his own defense. He starts pulling favors from old allies and buying silence where he can. A few people who might have exposed him suddenly disappear from the spotlight. Their social media going dark, their businesses changing hands. It's classic Kane covering tracks before anyone can connect the dots. But Kane also has a counterattack in mind. If he can dig up enough dirt on Phyllis, he might flip the narrative, making her look like the manipulator, while portraying himself as the victim. This could be devastating for Phyllis's credibility, especially if Jack or Nick start to believe Kane's version of events. Tensions come to a boiling point when Phyllis receives an anonymous warning. "You're in over your head. Walk away before it's too late." The message is chilling, and it forces her to confront the reality that this isn't just a corporate rivalry. It's personal and potentially dangerous. The threat could be from Kane, or it could be from someone else entirely, who has a stake in keeping his secrets buried. Despite the warning, Phyllis refuses to back down. She doubles her efforts, tracking Kane's movements and cross-referencing them with financial anomalies she's uncovered. Each clue strengthens her case, but it also increases the risk that Kane will catch on. Jack begins preparing for the possibility that they'll need to go public with their findings sooner than planned. While Nick, still in the dark about the full scope, becomes increasingly frustrated with Phyllis's silence. The real turning point comes when Phyllis discovers something that could blow the whole thing wide open: a hidden connection between Kane and a high-ranking Newman Enterprises executive. This link could explain Kane's rapid rise and his ability to move unchallenged in certain circles. If exposed, it could ignite a corporate war between Newman and Chancellor Winters. With Jabba inevitably caught in the crossfire, the discovery leaves Phyllis with an impossible choice. If she takes this to Jack, it could give him the ammunition to destroy Kane's ambitions once and for all. But it would also risk pulling Jabba into a battle with Newman Enterprises. If she brings it to Nick, it could protect him and Newman Enterprises from a betrayal within their own ranks, but it might allow Kane to slip away with minimal damage. And if she keeps it for herself, she could use it as leverage, playing all sides to secure her own position. In Genoa City, information is power, and Phyllis now holds a weapon that could change everything. But the wrong move could cost her not only her alliances, but also her safety. Kane is dangerous when cornered, and with every step she takes, the walls are closing in. As the week approaches its climax, fans are bracing for the inevitable confrontation. Will Phyllis strike first, or will Kane outmaneuver her? Will Jack and Nick discover they've both been playing the same game from different angles? And most importantly, when the truth finally comes out, will anyone in Genoa City be left unscathed? The fallout promises to be explosive, and no matter who wins, the battle between Phyllis and Kane is about to change the power dynamics in town forever. The storm finally hits when Phyllis arranges a covert meeting at an upscale Genoa City restaurant. Carefully selecting a corner table away from prying eyes, she's expecting Jack, ready to finally hand over the critical link between Kane and the Newman executive. But instead, Nick walks in. He's found out about the meeting through his own channels and decided to confront her before she can commit to one side. The tension is thick as Nick sits down, his eyes locked on hers. "You're playing with fire, Phyllis. If you have something that affects Newman Enterprises, I need to know before Jack turns it into his next big weapon." Phyllis, caught between the two men yet again, feels the pressure building. She knows that revealing the truth now could destroy her carefully constructed advantage. Before she can answer, Jack arrives, spotting them together. The sight of Nick sitting in his place sends Jack's temper. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. Flaring, he immediately suspects Phyllis has been double-dealing. What starts as a quiet conversation quickly escalates into a tense, three-way standoff with accusations flying and trust eroding in real time. Kane, unbeknownst to them, has been one step ahead. One of his informants spotted Phyllis earlier in the evening, and he's already on his way. By the time he enters the restaurant, the scene is volatile. Jack and Nick both demanding answers. Phyllis refusing to fully commit and whispers from nearby tables spreading like wildfire. Kane approaches with a calm, almost smug expression, as if he's walked into a game he's already won. Without hesitation, he sits at the table and slides an envelope across to Phyllis. Inside are photographs, grainy but clear enough, showing her meeting with a known corporate fixer linked to several hostile takeovers. Kane has flipped the narrative in one move, positioning her as the true manipulator. "You think you're the only one with secrets," Kane says smoothly, his voice low enough for just them to hear. "I could ruin all three of you before dessert." The threat is unmistakable, and for a brief moment, Phyllis feels the weight of her gamble pressing down on her. Jack looks at her with betrayal in his eyes. Nick's jaw tightens and Kane leans back, confident he's regained control. But Phyllis isn't ready to fold. She calmly pulls out her phone, opens a file, and shows them a recorded conversation between Kane and the Newman executive, discussing a covert plan to undermine both Newman Enterprises and Chancellor Winters in one calculated, strike. The table falls silent. The proof is irrefutable and more damaging than any of them imagined. Kane's confidence wavers for the first time, but he recovers quickly. Realizing he's in a corner, he warns that going public with the recording will ignite a war that will drag all their names through the mud. Phyllis now holds all the cards, but the decision is brutal. She can hand the recording to Jack, ensuring Kane's corporate destruction, but risking a battle with Newman that could tank Shabbat. She can give it to Nick, protecting Newman and hurting Kane enough to slow him down, but letting him slip away to fight another day. Or she can keep it and use it as a bargaining chip, forcing Kane into a deal that keeps him on a leash. All three men are watching her, waiting for her next move. And in that moment, Phyllis knows she's not just deciding Kane's fate, she's deciding the next chapter of power in Genoa City. What she chooses could redraw every alliance in town and set off a chain reaction no one can control. The next episode promises the fallout will be brutal, with winners and losers that no one saw coming. The tension at the restaurant lingers as Phyllis takes a deep breath, weighing her options carefully. Her eyes shift between Jack, Nick, and Kane, all formidable players with their own agendas. Each man represents a path with unpredictable consequences. Then, with a steady voice, she makes her choice clear. "I'm done being a pawn." Phyllis says, "I'm taking control." She announces she will release the recording and all the evidence. She's gathered to the board of Newman Enterprises and Jabbo simultaneously. By doing so, she aims to expose Kane's double dealings publicly and transparently, forcing both families to confront the truth hidden. This move shocks everyone, including Jack and Nick. It means no one can claim ignorance. And no one can manipulate the fallout behind closed doors. Kane's face tightens. The mask of calm cracks for a moment. The reality of public exposure dawns on him. It could destroy his career and reputation beyond repair. Phyllis watches as the power dynamics shift dramatically. But she also knows this decision carries personal risks. She's putting herself in the crosshairs of a man who doesn't take betrayal lightly. Kane might seek revenge not only through business channels, but also in ways that could hurt Phyllis emotionally and socially. Jack and Nick, though surprised, find themselves reluctantly united by Phyllis's bold move. Both understand the stakes now and realize that the survival of their legacies depends on how they handle the aftermath. In the following days, Genoa City buzzes with whispers and speculation. The board meetings become battlegrounds as Newman Enterprises and Jabbo executives digest the explosive evidence. Press leaks ignite public interest and social media lights up with heated debates about loyalty, power, and justice. Kane scrambles to mount a defense, but his options are limited. Even some of his closest allies begin to question their loyalties, wary of being caught in the crossfire. Meanwhile, Phyllis gains newfound respect for her courage and strategic acumen, though she's also aware that her relationships with Jack and Nick have been irrevocably altered. Each man must decide whether to trust Phyllis again, or view her as someone who plays by her own rules without allegiance. As the dust settles, it becomes clear that the battle lines in Genoa City have been redrawn. Alliances shift, enemies emerge, and the true cost of ambition reveals itself in unexpected ways. For Phyllis, the choice to expose Kane is both a triumph and a gamble, a declaration that she's no longer willing to be sidelined, but also a reminder that in Genoa City, power always comes with a price. The story promises to keep fans on the edge of their seats as they watch the fallout unfold. The rivalries intensify, and the complex dance of loyalty and betrayal continues in The Young and the Restless. The fallout from Phyllis's bold move unfolds rapidly, engulfing Genoa City in a whirlwind of drama that touches every corner of the community. Board meetings at Newman Enterprises and Jabbo become high-stakes confrontations filled with accusations, denials, and power plays. The public revelation forces executives on both sides to take sides, and no one escapes unscathed. Media outlets pounce on the scandal, painting Kane Ashby as a corporate villain whose ambition nearly brought two of Genoa City's most powerful families to their knees. Social media debates rage as fans pick sides, fueling the fire and keeping the drama front and center. Kane's response is swift and ruthless. He launches a counteroffensive designed to undermine Phyllis's credibility. Through carefully leaked documents, he tries to frame her as a schemer willing to destroy anyone who stands in her way. He also hints at secrets Phyllis has been hiding, stirring whispers about her past decisions and motivations. The tension between Phyllis and Kane escalates beyond business. Personal attacks start to surface, and those caught in the crossfire find themselves forced to choose where their loyalties lie. Jack Abbott and Nick Newman, though uneasy allies in this battle, continue to watch Phyllis carefully, grappling with their own doubts, even as they benefit from her intelligence. For Phyllis, the stakes are higher than ever. She faces isolation from old friends, potential damage to her reputation, and the risk of retaliation, not just in boardrooms, but in the shadows of Genoa City's social scene. Yet, her resolve remains unshaken. Phyllis's gamble has also put a spotlight on the fragile alliances that have long defined the city's elite. Trust is eroding, and the lines between friend and foe blur. Some allies distance themselves while unexpected players start to emerge, sensing opportunities in the chaos. Amid the turmoil, subtle moves begin that hint at a new power structure forming, one where old rivalries might be replaced by unlikely partnerships born of necessity rather than choice. Viewers can expect more twists and turns as the aftermath of Phyllis's decision plays out. The battle for control of Genoa City's business empires will not end with one revelation, and the personal costs of ambition will continue to shape lives and relationships in profound ways. Phyllis has made her mark, but the question remains: how long can she survive the fallout, and what will she have to sacrifice to stay on top? The Young and the Restless continues to deliver its trademark blend of intrigue, betrayal, and emotional intensity, proving once again why it remains a staple of daytime drama. The showdown between Phyllis and Kane is far from over, and Genoa City will never be the same. The latest spoilers for The Young and the Restless focus on a high-stakes power play involving Phyllis Summers, Kane Ashby, Jack Abbott, and Nick Newman. Phyllis finds herself at the center of a dangerous game, caught between loyalties to Jack and Nick while secretly betraying Kane. The storyline reveals Phyllis's complex motives as she gathers incriminating evidence against Kane, who is suspected of orchestrating a corporate takeover that threatens both the Abbott and Newman family empires. As tensions rise, Phyllis must decide whether to side with Jack, Nick, or leverage the information for her own benefit. Kane, aware of the threat, prepares a ruthless counterattack, escalating the drama. The climax unfolds in a tense confrontation at a Genoa City restaurant where Phyllis reveals proof of Kane's covert dealings, forcing a public showdown that reshapes alliances and power dynamics in Genoa City. Phyllis boldly opts to expose Kane's schemes to both families simultaneously, igniting a corporate war and social turmoil. The fallout threatens personal relationships and business empires alike, with trust eroding and new alliances forming. The episode promises continued twists and high emotional stakes as Phyllis's decision reverberates through Genoa City, marking a turning point in the ongoing saga of betrayal, ambition, and survival. Phyllis betrays Kane Ashby, but her true allegiance remains unclear. Kane's secret takeover scheme threatens both the Abbott and Newman empires. Phyllis is torn between supporting Jack Abbott and protecting Nick Newman. Kane prepares a ruthless counterattack to maintain control and discredit Phyllis. A dramatic three-way confrontation reveals explosive evidence against Kane. Phyllis chooses to expose Kane publicly, shaking up Genoa City's power structure. The fallout triggers corporate battles, fractured alliances, and social upheaval. Phyllis's dual loyalty reflects her complex character and strategic mind. Historically unpredictable. Phyllis navigates the murky waters between Jack and Nick, weighing personal and professional stakes. Her decision to gather evidence while keeping options open underscores her as a master manipulator who plays to win, not just survive. This multifaceted approach enriches her character arc and drives the suspense. Kane Ashby's ambition represents a critical threat to Genoa City's established power families. His rumored corporate takeover is not just a business move, but a strategic bid to dismantle centuries-old family legacies. Kane's ability to charm allies and cover tracks indicates his dangerous cunning, positioning him as a formidable antagonist who raises the stakes for all main players. The tense triangle between Phyllis, Jack, and Nick highlights the fragile nature of alliances in Genoa City. Loyalty is fluid, and personal histories complicate motivations. Jack's tactical approach contrasts with Nick's more personal concern, creating a dynamic where Phyllis's choice could have far-reaching consequences for family and business alike. This tension exemplifies the soap opera's hallmark blend of personal drama and corporate intrigue. Kane's counteroffensive to discredit. Phyllis introduces a theme of reputational warfare. In a world where image is power, Kane's move to frame Phyllis as the manipulator threatens to isolate her socially and professionally. This escalation beyond corporate rivalry into personal attacks enriches the narrative, illustrating how high-stakes conflicts in Genoa City blur the line between business and personal vendettas. Phyllis's discovery of Kane's connection to a high-ranking Newman executive adds a layer of complexity and internal betrayal. This revelation threatens to ignite a corporate war between Newman Enterprises and Chancellor Winters, with potential collateral damage to allied companies like Jabba. It highlights how information is a double-edged sword, capable of both empowering and endangering those who wield it. The restaurant standoff is a pivotal scene symbolizing the power struggle's volatility. Phyllis's calm presentation of recorded evidence, amidst accusations and Kane's dramatic entrance underscores the constant tension and unpredictability in Genoa City. It also marks a turning point where secrets come to light, forcing characters to confront harsh truths and shifting the balance of power. Phyllis's final decision to release the evidence publicly is a bold assertion of agency. By choosing transparency over secrecy, she disrupts traditional power plays and forces a reckoning among the city's elite. This move redefines her role from pawn to player, but also exposes her to significant risks, including retaliation and damaged relationships. The narrative here explores themes of risk, control, and the high cost of ambition. This Young and the Restless storyline delves deep into themes of loyalty, betrayal, and power. Phyllis Summers emerges as a central figure whose choices could alter Genoa City's landscape forever. The interplay between personal motives and corporate machinations creates a rich tapestry of intrigue that keeps viewers engaged. As alliances shift and secrets unravel, the drama promises to intensify, with Phyllis's gamble setting the stage for explosive confrontations and lasting consequences. The intricate plotting and character dynamics underscore why the show remains a daytime drama staple, combining emotional intensity with high-stakes storytelling.